Hey everybody, welcome back to Mondays with Mikayla. This week I want to talk about the updated contribution and standard deduction limits for 2025. I think this is really important because each year numbers adjust with inflation and you're actually allowed to put more money in retirement accounts each year with these adjustments. So if you set it and forget it on some of your retirement accounts, you might be missing out on some additional savings that you can participate in. So first and foremost is the 401k. The maximum amount of money you can contribute to a 401k in 2025 is $23,500. Now, if you're over 50 and over 60, you have some additional catch up contributions that you can participate in. So your total contribution if you're over 50 could be 31,000. If you're over 60, it could be 34,750. This particular channel is more for young professionals, so I'm going to gear most of my advice that way. But setting up yourself percentage of salary so that you can get to that max is a really big deal because you don't want to leave dollars on the table. It's important to note that, say you say, oh, I want 20% of my salary to go to a Roth, but if I do that, that means I'm probably going to hit the max out limit before the end of the year. Don't worry, the 401k plan will automatically, at least the one here, but most will automatically stop contributing for you. So you can double check on it with your HR person, but most of the time the 401ks will automatically stop contributing once you reach that limit. So if you want to set a more aggressive savings percentage, you shouldn't have to monitor it too much. Like I said, speaking from personal experience here, but most of the time that should be the case. Double check, but that should be the case. Now, that contribution can go to either a traditional 401k or a Roth or some combination of the two. So the total contribution, whether it's traditional Roth or a combination, can be that 23,500. It's really important to see if your employer has a Roth 401k option because, as I'll explain later, there is a phase out for being able to participate in Roth IRAs, individual retirement accounts, which means that if, as a married couple, you're making over $236,000, you can't contribute to a Roth IRA. And if you're making over $150,000 as a single person, you also can't contribute to a Roth IRA. Technically, those numbers are their beginning of a phase out period, and there's pro rata calculation for how much you can put in, but it's not the full amount. So, for simplicity's sake, I just say once you reach those limits, it just becomes complicated and kind of annoying, quite frankly, to contribute. So, you'd want to look for other ways to build your tax free bucket. Now, in that IRA space, whether it's a traditional or a Roth or a combination of the two, if you're eligible, you can contribute up to $7,000 into a traditional IRA. Now, depending on your situation, how much money you're making, if your employer's offering a company plan, there are limits to how much you can deduct in a traditional IRA if you already have access to a company 401k. Those can get somewhat complicated. Not complicated, but it's just a lot of numbers that's not going to make as much sense on a YouTube channel versus like sitting down and writing it down. I just want you to be aware of, if you have a company sponsored plan and you're contributing to a Roth IRA, if you look it up online, it will tell you if you are not eligible to actually deduct that IRA contribution. And I will say, if you are not eligible to deduct it because of where your income is hitting, you'd probably be better off just investing it into a brokerage account. The after tax contributions to an IRA, unless you're doing a backdoor and you're doing it correctly, which is more sophisticated than is on this video, you want to, I would recommend just putting it in a brokerage account. Seen too many retirees who have tried to do their after tax contributions, and on the back end, when you retire and you have to go and get them out, you essentially have to do calculations on whatever you put in, all the earnings over your entire career, and allocate what was after tax and what was pre-tax. So it might not seem complicated when you're in the beginning, but at the end, I'll just tell you, if you're not eligible to contribute a deductible contribution to a traditional IRA because you're already maxing out your 401k and you want to add additional savings, you'd probably just be better doing that in a brokerage account. Sometimes money can be complicated, and sometimes the easier way is just the way that saves everybody time, and time is money. So that's my advice there. But hopefully this was helpful. I want everybody, as especially as young professionals, to just start thinking about savings. And one really great goal that I like, and that's is not too painful for folks, is whatever you saved last year, try to do 1% more. You're not going to feel that 1% too much, but in 5 years and 10 years, you continue to increase that by 1%. You're really setting yourself up for success when it comes to wealth accumulation. So have a great 2025, and we'll talk next week. Bye, guys.